that when it gets released, it won't cost the same, it won't look the same, and the specs won't be the same, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
It's always been that way. Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Car Guys. I'm Adam. This is John. We got a little bit of a different format this week. Instead of focusing on one topic, we're actually going to talk about a few different topics. I think we got some really cool things to talk about. But before we get going, we have a very special thing we're doing in this episode. My friends over at Starby Designs, they cut metal silhouettes of cars. I've got this one right here. It's a BMW M4 GTS. We are going to give it away to one of our viewers today. So if you leave a comment below, tell us you like the video, tell us you didn't like the video. It just doesn't matter. We're going to pick at random and give this away to somebody. It's really cool. The guy does a great job. He even includes the level and the hangers and everything like that. So it's super cool, but we're going to give that away. So with that, John, let's get going, man. Let's start talking about cars, dude.
Man, have I got some news.
Hit me.
They're going to kill the Dodge Charger EV.
Oh, thank God. Oh, my God.
Let's go.
I have been waiting for that nonsense.
Dude, it is a step in the correct direction, if you will.
Dude, can we just establish that Dodge lost sight of their consumer market? I mean, everybody I know, not just that has a Hellcat or has a Challenger, they want a Hellcat or a Demon. They want a bigger engine with a bigger blower. Am I wrong?
Absolutely, man. Nobody is really focused on the EV for a muscle car. And the whole thing was kind of like, why, right? Like, I didn't quite understand it. The sound thing, like it's got this Verifone or whatever they call it speaker.
Have you heard one yet?
I did, actually, randomly heard one the other day. And I thought, well, that's just, it's neat. I mean, I get the being different, right? If you want to be different,
it sounds like a spaceship, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with that. It's different. You can change the sounds and stuff. The dude was showing me some of the stuff, but a few things are the reasons why they're killing the car. And that's basically they're saying it's gone in 2026 due to a couple of things. And it's poor reviews, slow sales, tariffs, shift to higher end models, and obviously future of electric muscle cars is kind of on the low side. So,
well, okay, yeah. So yes, slow sales, right? But you would think they'd learn from Ford, right? So Ford brought out the Mustang Mach-E. Now, to be fair, I actually like that car. I've driven it before. It's fun to drive. It's got a lot of get up and go. I actually like the styling of it. I just wish they didn't call it a Mustang, because Mustang owners don't want an EV. In fact, I was up in the mountains this weekend on my motorcycle, just hitting up the mountains, and there was a Mustang owners group. And not only was there not a single one of them not in an EV, every one of them had aftermarket exhaust.
Right. Yeah, the Mustangs, man, they are loud. If you put exhaust on it,
they sounded awesome.
Sound so yeah,
they sounded so good.
Man.
But with that being said, there's not a Challenger or Charger owner out there that wants a Charger EV. And the alternative to that is a 6-cylinder?
Yeah.
Come on.
And I think that's the thing. Dodge is obviously making a shift back to their roots, if you will, or whatever they were doing last year, which was put a Hellcat in everything. But
is that a shopping cart? Put a Hellcat in it.
Absolutely. Is that a minivan? Yes, please. Hellcat right now. Stat. We're going to need 2 of those. We need a higher trim model. RT, SRT. Let's go.
So I will tell you this, and you, if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you can probably go back and find this. I think, John, you and I had a conversation early on. We're like, Dodge will never do an EV. They're going to put Hellcats in everything. Like, they're going to put a Hellcat in a minivan, because everybody else was doing EVs. And I never thought of it, because every time you turned around, they were like, okay, 707. All right, 740. All right, 1,000. All right, 1,040. Like, they just kept throwing horsepower at these cars.
Dude, we are officially in a horsepower war yet again. I mean, look at the Corvette. Look at all the muscle, all this American stuff in general is just slapping horsepower on top of horsepower on top of horsepower. I love it.
I mean, as a car guy, I absolutely love it. And I will say, when a friend of mine, he and I used to joke all the time that I want to get to a point in my life where there's nothing under 500 horsepower in my garage. And right now, there is nothing under 500 horsepower in my garage. I thought it was like a unobtainium, and
Yeah,
now like
that
even
used to
my
be.
truck's got 500 horsepower.
Oh man, I remember when I bought the Viper and thought, man, this is power. 500 horsepower. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, this is power.
Right,
But I
it's
came
like
from
a train on tracks. It's power.
yeah, but I mean, I came from like a 300 horsepower Nissan Z, so it was like that was power.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, no, this is crazy. But yeah, I mean, it had a good run. Less than 12 months on production, I believe. I think 1,300 cars total. If you want a rare EV, that's the one to get.
Oh man, yeah. If you want a rare EV that somebody's not going to vandalize because they don't agree with your political statements, right? Then you get yourself a Challenger EV.
Unless they come out with some crazy commercial that we're like, why did you do that? Bud Light all over again. You know? What I mean?
My God. But so here's the thing, and John said it a second ago. They're getting back to their roots. So one of the big things that was kind of the downfall, if you will, of Dodge and Stellantis was Tim Knuskis leaving. And I will tell you and I did a video when the EV came out. And you and I said in that video, he looked so uncomfortable. It was almost like he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Yep.
And he was not bought into it.
Yes.
And then shortly after that, he left. So the good news is he's back. And a big reason that he's back is the guy that Stellantis just hired as their new CEO. His name is Antonio Filosa.
Yes.
And he actually has been around Stellantis for kind of a minute now. He was a big reason why they were so successful in the Jeep market in Brazil, which nobody saw coming, which was kind of interesting. And he took over some operations in the United States. He was a big reason why they brought Tim Knuskis back. And from what I hear, John, he's a car guy. I'm a big fan of a car guy.
Here he's a car guy. He was part of I don't know if you remember the Daimler Chrysler PSA, merging and all that stuff, I believe. And there was a couple other things, but he supposedly is a car guy. And if I'm hoping we're right, I'm thinking Return of the Viper. They've hinted a lot of little things in their V8 releases, and maybe, just maybe, I get a mid-engine Viper coming to the house. Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who are listening to this and not watching this, my face just went completely in shock.
It's possible.
I don't even know what a mid-engine Viper would look like.
Imagine V10, crazy, screaming, naturally aspirated V10 behind you. Like, think Corvette C8, revamp, mid-engine Viper. I don't know.
Okay.
Look,
listen.
Let a kid dream.
You can dream. You can dream, but I'm gonna sound like a Corvette purist here.
Oh God, here we are.
Which is way outside of character for me. But I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd want that. I want a rebirth of the Viper. I'd take a rebirth of the Viper, but I want it front engine and just drive like crap and have all kinds of horsepower. Let's make it 1,000 horsepower.
But I already have that in the garage.
Well, let's make it 1,000 horsepower on leaf springs, right? I'll go over it.
But I already have that one in the garage. I want the new one. No, I mean, I don't know, man. But I think he's going to do a lot for the company. I hope. Obviously, I hate to see a U.S. brand like this get, just trampled like they have in the last 4 years. Really, it's been pretty bad for them. They increased prices way above what they should have during COVID. We've talked about that on the channel before.
We have.
There's a few things that they've just misstepped, and it's like, let's see if this dude can finally correct course. I've seen a lot of positive press about the guy, so we'll see.
I mean, they still have the largest standing inventory, second only to Jaguar.
Yeah.
Their 30-day supply is among the largest. I think it's the second largest in the country, which is crazy. Yeah. Nobody wants to buy their cars right now. A big part of it's reliability. Yeah. A big part of it is the cost. You're paying twice as much for a car that really isn't any better than it was 6 months ago, right? Yeah. And exactly. They spun off the Wagoneer brand. Wagoneer's been struggling ridiculously, and a big reason why it's been struggling was reliability. It's one of the least reliable vehicles that are out in the marketplace right now. Yeah. But let's talk about something positive. You just said a rebrand or a redesign of the Viper,
Maybe.
right?
They're hinting
Hold on. Have you seen the rumors about a mid-engine performance car coming out from Cadillac? Have you seen that?
I have.
Okay, let's pretend that they do make it.
Oh man,
I love it.
that'd be amazing.
I
I mean,
think
Return of
that
the
is one of the-
XLR would be.
Well, you know how I feel about the XLR,
Right.
that doorstop.
Yes.
But this thing, it's one of the renderings we've seen are one of the more beautiful cars I've seen in the marketplace today. And as long as I don't even know. I mean, my only issue with the Corvette is that there's just market saturation. Everybody and their brother has one, right? I think the Corvette's an amazing car. I think it looks really good. And in fact, 9 times out of 10, when I see one coming down the street, I have to do a double take because I think it's something else, right? It's a great car. The performance is incredible. My issue with that car is that there are just so many of them out there. I love the renderings for the Cadillac. And if they do the Cadillac and do it right, as long as they do limited runs, I think that would be a amazing car.
Yeah.
I don't want one.
I would have one. I think that the Cadillac, if they do I don't know what the price point would be though. I mean, look at their Escalades and things like that where they put them. I mean, it's going to be an astronomical amount of money.
Yeah, it's a
I
Cadillac.
would be surprised if it's
grand.
not priced at ZR1 price levels and you get Z06 performance. That's where they're going to miss the mark. I'm afraid of that more than anything.
I'm with you. I think so. I mean, we all know it's just going to be a rebodied Corvette, right?
Right.
But the body on that freaking car is gorgeous.
That'll be cool, man.
At least the renderings are.
Yes. Everything I've seen, it's like, and you'll pop it up, I'm sure, but man, it's please come out with this. They're coming to Formula One, man. Like bring the horsepower, if they come out with ZR1 for Corvette money in a Cadillac, let's go, man. Like
I'd have that. I'd have that over a ZR1 all day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I was thinking that hit my hand. I was thinking that the ZR1 was going to be built more. They only built 300 cars to date for the 25 year, and they're saying that's it for 25. So if you get an early allocation on that, you are in the money. But we'll see.
I mean, if you've seen some of the YouTubers and some of the reviewers that are out there, if they only built 300 cars, I guarantee you 50 to 75 of them are press cars because it looks like everybody and their brother has touched one of these cars already, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think they did a big track day at Coda, and they did a big release of that.
We weren't invited, by the way, so feel very left out.
Hey, GM, I'm wearing a shirt, man.
Right.
Well, come on, think about us. We like you. Or
Call somebody.
I like you.
I like them too. Call somebody.
Speaking about big V8s and small cars, man, let's talk about Lotus and the Amira.
Okay,
bro.
Okay, so here's the thing. All right,
come on, man.
Okay, I'm about to get a little excited here. Here's the thing. I really like the idea of the Amira. Period. I liked it when it came out.
It's cool.
Really, my only argument with it when it first came out was that it looks so much like the McLaren Artura.
Yeah.
What we found out quickly is even though it's a Lotus, the reliability of that car was way higher than the McLaren Artura. The McLaren Artura has had issue after issue after issue, right? So it's a better car, and they offer it in a manual transmission. You've got 2 engine options. You've got the Camry engine, which is supercharged, and you've got the AMG engine, which is turbocharged. And in the Camry engine, you can get a manual transmission, and it's cool. You can see the linkage and everything. I've driven one; it drives great, and it's sub 100K.
That's what I like
for essentially a Lotus supercar, right?
Yeah.
It looks good. It sounds good. It drives good. It's fun to drive, and you can go through the gears. It's a great car.
Absolutely.
Now you're telling me that they're going to build one in a V8?
Let's go.
Where's my wallet? Where's my...
Shut up. Take my money.
Where's my wallet?
Shut up and take my money.
I can't even imagine how much fun that would be. And to be honest with you, it's not Lotus's first V8.
No.
You know, they did a Lotus V8 a long time ago.
Well, they did a rebodied Maserati Gran Turismo. It was what was the name of that car? I'm gonna mess it up anyways. So yeah, but that car was sick. We saw it at oh my gosh, I'm all over the place. We saw it when we went to the Indy race at Barber, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, but
neat.
the James Bond Lotus, right? The one where he turned into the submarine. That was a V8 back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful car. It was an absolutely gorgeous car. I would love to see a V8 in that car. I don't know how you get one in there because it's a very compact, very, very, small car.
I think it's going to be cool. I just hope that they come to market right, and they don't like, oh, this is fine. Yeah, you can have it as $200,000, and we're gonna make 10 of them, because that's always been the problem with like them when they make a small production like number car. But all their other stuff sells, and it holds really good value.
To be honest, you know what is really interesting about Lotus is Lotus gets a bad rap, right? I mean, the acronym for Lotus is lots of trouble, usually serious. And, Lotus gets a bad rap. But the engine that's in the Lotus Amira and the Lotus Evora is one of the most reliable, one of the most sold engines on the planet. It's the Toyota Camry engine.
Yeah.
And that engine is supercharged, and it is very reliable. I actually know somebody who's got a Lotus Evora and has almost 200 and something thousand miles on the car. Has not had an issue with the car. They drive that car. It's like they're daily. They drive it everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's a great platform. And what's really crazy about those cars is the Amira has been out for over a year now. The Evora is still selling for good money. That was a $100,000 car 3 years ago, and it's still $70,000, $80,000. You know, you can't say that about a lot of other cars. I mean, if you look at some of the McLarens, some of these 600 LTs at a $300,000 sticker that's selling for $200,000. You lost $100,000 on that car,
Yeah.
And along with it, you get iffy reliability,
Yeah, at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the hard part. I don't know, man. I think it'd be cool to see a Lotus bring a V8 back. We'll see what happens. But
I'd buy one.
What do you think the chances are of it really happening? I think there's a lot of talk, but what do you think the chances are?
But the talk is, so you and I have been doing this long enough. You and I have been car guys long enough that there's certain things people say, and that it has some weight behind it, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you a great example. Don't everybody hate me in the comments at once. We know if Tesla announces a new car today, that when it gets released, it won't cost the same, it won't look the same, and the specs won't be the same, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
It's always been that way.
It has.
It doesn't mean it's a bad car. It just means that that's how it is. I mean, how long have we been waiting for the Tesla Roadster?
Yeah.
Right? The Tesla Roadster, I don't even know if they're ever going to make it.
It's weird though. I mean, they could have could have finished it. They could have took a Model 3 chassis and threw a freaking car on it and said, "This is the Roadster. Everybody that paid a deposit, you just lost a bunch of money. Give it to me, and you can buy this car." But
to be honest with you, they already did that, right?
Yeah.
There was a guy on YouTube who already took a Tesla Model S and turned it into his vision of the Roadster, and it looks great. But we know that stuff's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the cars that were out there, I'm still waiting for the Tesla truck to cost $60,000. I'm still waiting for the Model 3 to cost $30,000, right?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the Tesla truck to have the range they promised it was going to have. And with all that being said, there are certain things out there that when you hear catalysts, that that there's a good chance, right?
Yeah.
One of them is Cadillac is going into F1.
Yep.
If you're going into F1, you want performance cars in your lineup. And yes, you do have the CTS-V Blackwing. You have the CTS-5 and the CTS-4V, and they're great cars. But you need a supercar in your lineup to be in that hunt, right? I mean, even Mercedes did it. They came out with the AMG 1.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, if somebody says that the reason that they're putting a V8 in that has to do with it's easier to get emissions done on a V8 than it is on this supercharged V6, there's a pretty good chance that could be a reality.
Let's go, man. V8's for everybody. You get a V8. You get a V8. You get a V8. We all get V8s.
Dude, I'm so happy.
Yes. It's what a time to be alive, man.
So happy. I am so happy. And so here's the thing that was interesting. I was watching something the other day, and somebody said, do you think in our lifetime that we will get rid of ICE engines? And the answer was resounding no.
Yeah.
And I agree. And one of the reasons they gave was because if you look at New Jersey has a tag that you can just keep renewing the same tag, and you can keep it. And I think it's a straw. It was made out of straw tag or something.
Okay.
But there are still, and it was issued back in like 30s and 40s. There are still cars today driving around with that tag on their car.
Yeah.
Right. What that means is that in our lifetime, people aren't going to completely walk away from ICE vehicles and go towards EV or some other a hybrid or something.
Yeah.
Unless the option is completely taken away from them.
Yeah.
Right. California was on that track, and they were talking about, banning ICE engines in 2030, which is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And thank God they came out and overturned that, because that was about the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. They can't even, keep a stable grid over there, and you want to switch to an all EV. Come on, guys. Like, that was just dumb.
I saw a video the other day that talked about why California is such a big, so big on the environmental side and everything like that, is they actually have the most amount of vehicles bought per year per capita. Does that make sense? So they have a astronomical amount more vehicles going into that state, and they had a lot of issues with smog and things like that. This new revision of the EPA laws and things like that is going to make a lot of changes for them. I don't think it's going to affect what's already in effect, right? So I don't think it's going to create more smog, because cars are getting way more efficient.
They are getting way more efficient.
Way more
efficient. And they produce significantly less smog.
Exactly. So I think as long as that's the case, there's really just, what's the point, right? Like, where do we get to the point where we're carbon neutral or carbon zero? I don't think that there's a possible way of us having a sustainable vehicle that lasts 40 years or 100 years or whatever, with carbon zero. And maybe we get there with fuel. Maybe we get there with a different burning fuel in the future. And I think that would be even better than something like a all EV lineup, right? Like, I just don't see that being the way. We'll see.
Porsche talked about doing a hydrogen-infused gasoline, which was going to extend the range, improve the performance, do all these things. That would be amazing.
Absolutely.
But, really, the big change, or whatever you want to call it, is California wants to be a very progressive state. They want to be on the green edge. They want to be on the technology edge.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, in order to do that, you make a lot of mistakes along the way, right? And green, EV energy is not what everybody thinks it is, because at the end of the day, I was looking at it the other day. You and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago on our channel about what is the floor for these EV cars, right? Is there a floor? And so I was watching a video, and somebody was talking about buying, used Teslas for like $7,000 to $10,000 or something. I was like,
I'm buying one.
I'll take a $7,000 Tesla.
I'll take a $7,000.
Get one.
$10,000 Tesla. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I went out and looked at them, and they're not $7,000 and $10,000. They're a little bit more than that. But I've noticed that they all the used Teslas all have about the same mileage on them. Right? They're all in the 80s and 100,000 miles. They're treating these vehicles like disposable vehicles.
Yep.
Nobody's keeping these cars for long term. And actually, I saw a joke a while ago, and I think I shared it with you. I thought it was funny that somebody said 30 years from now, nobody's going to be restoring a Tesla. And it's true, because 30 years from now, the battery in that Tesla is probably not going to be any good, right? Because the battery in your phone and any other thing, like the GoPro we use to film these things and all that stuff.
Yes.
Those batteries have a finite lifespan on them. They with every charge, they lose performance. With every charge, they go down a little bit.
Yep.
And so at some point, you have to replace the battery. And, the big question becomes, okay, California, I'm calling you out on this channel. You get an all EV fleet. 10 years from now, everybody's replacing the battery. Where do those batteries go? What are you guys going to do with them? How are you going to recycle those batteries? And in the meantime, where are you going to get all the materials to build all the new batteries? And are they going to be as efficient, less efficient, more efficient than the batteries that are currently out there?
Yeah.
Right. Those are the big challenges that they face. End of discussion. Right.
Yep. I guess we're gonna see, man. In 20 years, when you're watching the channel, we'll go back to this one and we'll be like, "Ooh, that didn't age well," or it aged really well.
I'm kind of hoping that we're able to have a conversation like that in 20 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. So one last thing on the list of topics today.
Yes.
Is John and I love F1. Let's be honest. I'm wearing the Aston Martin shirt, right? I mean, you guys have liked some of our videos where we're going to the F1 races. I love F1. We don't talk about on this channel enough, honestly, because of in order to do you guys a service and to do it correctly, we need to be watching it and reporting on it as it's happening and then giving you guys all the news up to it. So instead, we're just going to kind of treat this as kind of our feedback on how things went from time to time. And we'll talk about the F1 races and talk about, racing in general, not just F1.
That's right.
I actually watched the Silverstone GP race for MotoGP the other day. If you are a motorcycle fan, if you haven't watched that race, go watch it. It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they restarted the race at one point, and I didn't realize in motorcycles, they have backup motorcycles in the garage. And I knew that part. And so if you wreck your bike and they restart the race, you can physically run in your suit. You can run across the track back to your garage and get on the backup motorcycle and take off.
Nice.
That was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Flying.
Dude, listen, anybody who knows me knows that I do track days on motorcycles.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen me run in a full race suit, be prepared to laugh. It is not graceful.
Just know he's getting chased by something bigger than him.
I'm being chased. There's somebody that is threatening me with my life.
Yeah, we also had the Indy 500 as well.
We had. And the Indy 500 was a snooze fest.
Well, that, and then we had some drama with the after effects of the Indy 500 where somebody got stripped of second place.
Yeah. So listen, I don't want to be rude about Indy cars. I think Indy cars are actually really cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the pit stops in Indy give me anxiety so bad, like you don't even understand.
Yeah.
I'm used to F1 pit stops that are if they're over 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, what are you doing wrong? You broke everything. How could you not change all 4 tires and change the nose cone in 3 seconds?
Right.
But in Indy, they have to fill up the car with gas, and it's a little bit more complicated. And I will tell you, I enjoy watching the Indy race. I'm not a NASCAR fan. I'm just not. It's just not my sport. There's nothing against it. My dad's a huge NASCAR guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of the most popular sports in the United States, which is great. I support anybody who's watching motorsports of any kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that being said, the reason why I don't like the Indy 500 is because it's basically cars going around in a circle for 500 miles.
I will say on any other street tracks, it's way better. But
it was. This past weekend was in Detroit, and that was a very cool race to watch.
Detroit was good. Yeah, Detroit was awesome. We watched the highlights. I don't have Fox, so I watch the highlights on YouTube. So there's that.
Well, let's talk about the Spanish GP real quick, right?
Absolutely.
So the Spanish GP, we just got finished with a European triple header, right?
Yes.
The European triple header has actually been pretty fun, pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Lando won in Monaco. I was super pumped for that. That was an absolutely great race. Max stayed out there as long as he possibly could, hoping for a red flag.
Right.
The numbers weren't in his favor. I mean, I think we can all agree Monaco is not about the racing anymore. It's just not.
All about
it's
qualifying.
Really about, it's not even about the qualifying. It's really about the scene. People don't go there for the racing part. People don't watch it for the racing part. They watch it for the yachts that show up and the celebrities that come to this event and the parties and all that stuff. I mean, the cars are too big. The track is too small and the layout sucks.
Yeah. The one thing I remember when I first got into F1 and I was like, I want to go to Monaco.
I
didn't know why I wanted to go to Monaco at the time. I just knew that was like the race, right?
Yeah.
But now looking at it, it's like, It's fine. That'd be cool. But
still do.
It's not necessarily like, oh my gosh, like it was, when I first got into Formula One. But it's a prestigious race, and I don't think it should be removed from the calendar for that. Just in general, I think they should do some things to make it more interesting, widen the track in some places. But they're going to have to change the city a little bit for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, with the new regulations and the new cars coming in 26, the cars are going to be smaller. Maybe that will help out with a little bit because there's really not a lot of almost no overtaking chances unless you pull a George Russell and just drive right through the middle.
Right.
But I mean, essentially, it's very hard to overtake, and the thing is, strategically, people are on purpose backing people up.
Yes.
And it just becomes a nightmare to watch, right?
Gosh.
So
can you imagine being in the driver's seat?
I'd be going nuts.
Oh my gosh. And that's why George did what he did. It was like,
Dude, have you
man.
seen me in Atlanta traffic? Do you think I do good in a competitive race?
Right.
I'm going to say no.
Same here. Same here.
So this past weekend was the Spanish GP. I really like the Spanish track. I think it's super cool.
Yeah.
Sadly, this will be the last year that they're going to do it.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird because they're moving it literally across the country, and those two cities are bitter rivals in sports. So it's a very weird vibe that you're taking it from one to the other, and they're taking it from a purpose-built racetrack and putting it on a street track, on a street course. And
Thank you.
You like that?
Yes, absolutely. I love the street courses, man.
Are you okay? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm a fan of the street courses.
I will tell you, I do like some of the street courses. I like Vegas. They call Miami a street course. I don't.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
don't
a
agree.
pre-made.
It's in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Right?
It's more of a parking lot. Yeah.
But I did enjoy Vegas. I like a couple of the other
Mexico GP, and it's a street race.
Mexico is in the racetrack, and now all of a sudden Hermanos.
I thought that it was okay. Well,
Hermanos Rodriguez. Yes, so it's in a dedicated racetrack. It's awesome.
I got you.
It's actually funny because F1's getting a lot of hate right now for walking away from purpose-built racetracks, which was the purpose of F1,
right,
and putting it on street tracks. So I'm actually kind of surprised that you're like, hey, yeah, let's do this.
Some of the purpose stuff gets like, I think of the France track where it's like all the red and blue lines everywhere. I don't like that. I like it where they have short runoffs. I like it where they have to push in corners. I do like it when it's a bigger street course like Abu Dhabi, right? Maybe.
Not Abu Dhabi.
Not Abu Dhabi. What's the other one? Baku. Yes,
isn't that right?
I like that. Yep. But Abu Dhabi's cool with a purpose-built track, so I guess I like both. I don't know, man. I kind of like it all.
Well, so it's interesting. It was sad to see that this was the last race at this track, but my gosh, was the drama high. I mean, so much stuff was happening. We saw drama in the beginning of the race.
Yes.
We had some people get moved around. I mean, Max got a really great start, made it from third place into second place with Norris behind. Yeah. And Liam Lawson, I don't remember if he thought he was driving bumper cars or he just decided that he was going to go wrecking ball because he was just sick and tired of everybody. But dude, he went all out. He was running at everybody, and their brother took Albon out of the race, basically.
Yeah, that was pretty rough, man. At the beginning, it was weird though. At the beginning, it was like a lot of shuffling, a lot of craziness, crazy pit windows. Like people were pitting like early, and then you see it kind of like nothing for a little bit, and then it's like all of a sudden. It got
so
crazy.
Here's the thing. I thought that race was going to be a two stopper at most. There were some people saying it was going to be a one stopper. When Red Bull went in there and made it very obvious that they were making it a 3-stop race.
Yeah,
I was like, is this a mistake?
Well, then they shouldn't have done what they did. They should have left him out. He would have had track position, and then he just needed to defend. And he can defend. They didn't do that.
For any of you who haven't watched the race, the him that he's talking about is Max Verstappen.
Yes,
so
Mr. Max Verstappen.
Let's get into the red mist that descended on the Spanish GP.
I wrote it down in here as my note for what we're talking about, and it's written down as Max Attack. But I mean, look, man, come on. I get it. He gets put on the hards. The hards suck. They didn't turn on for him. The tires just weren't there. Then
He was upset the minute they got him on the hard.
He was upset. Then
the minute he even came over the radio and he's like, "What are these tires? Why am I on these tires?"
I thought that was very nice. The way he come on the radio and he's like
there was only available option.
Why did we do this?
Yeah, no, there was only available option. And to be honest with you, when you think about the whole Max situation, right? So for anybody who doesn't know, John is a big Max fan. He's a big Red Bull fan. Right?
I'm a Red Bull fan. Yeah.
I like Aston Martin because I'm an Aston fan, and I also like McLaren. Again, McLaren fan. And so, I really just like the racing aspect of it. I just like the competition aspect of it.
Absolutely.
The problem I've always had with Max is aggressive to a point that it is dangerous. And the thing is, if he gets put in a position where he thinks that he's going to lose out, he is willing to take both people out of the race to make his point. And he's done it with Lando last year. He did it with George Russell earlier in the year. He did it with, there's a obviously famous video of the crash with Lewis when he basically put his rear tire on Lewis's helmet. The only thing that saved Lewis was the halo. The guy's aggressive.
I'm sensing a lot of Max hate from that side of the table over there.
You know what? He's a great driver. He is, and I will say I was early to be like, he's only good because of the car. He's proven that he can be successful in many forms of racing.
Yes.
Right. And he's proven he can be successful even if the car is not up to par. Right. But the truth of the matter is, if he gets frustrated, he just loses control almost, and there was a lot that went wrong. John's right.
Yeah.
He never should have been put on the hards. He should have been left out in track position. He should have defended the spot. Right. But the real truth of it is his team screwed up twice. They put him on the wrong tires. And then after they put him on the wrong tires, they turned around and he had the scuffle with George, and they said, "Oh, you got to give George the spot back." And he said, "No, why? I shouldn't have to give it back." And they said, "No, you have to give it back." The FIA came out after the fact and said, "We were never going to ask him to give that spot back."
Yeah.
And so, yes, I understand that they did it because they were worried that it was going to
get a penalty.
He was going to get a penalty,
yeah.
Right? Which you have to understand, because if they didn't do that and he did get a penalty, he would end up in trouble anyway, probably 5 seconds or something like that. He probably would have ended up in 5th or 6th or something like that. But they had him give it up, and he was so angry when he gave it up. He slowed down to let George through, and then he just rammed him on purpose.
I haven't seen, not to sound like a Max, like, oh my gosh, he can do no wrong. Nobody showed the in-car footage yet for Max.
The last thing I saw is that
there wasn't wheel like this.
Yeah,
there's definitely in-car footage. We have,
but nobody's seen it. Yeah, nobody's seen it.
Nobody's seen it.
Or at least
until I see that and see he was full lock and the car's sliding, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Now I do agree that was dirty. If he opened the wheel and intentionally drove that Red Bull into the side of that,
but even if
Mercedes,
he didn't open the wheel,
Mercedes,
right, he slowed down to let him by, and then he accelerated. So.
Right,
what's
but
your
I want to see
there?
the telemetry. I want to see that first before I say anything on that.
So I will say, Alex Brundle, right, was doing the review,
right,
and Alex says we don't have the in-car footage, but if you look at the characteristics of the car, which is all we have to go by right now, if you look at the behavior of the car was that he intentionally ran into him.
And maybe again, I want to see the telemetry.
I guarantee the FIA has seen that onboard footage because they gave him 3
points.
Him
3 points. I know, yeah, and I agree. And I think that you're probably right. I'm not disagreeing.
So he's 1 point away from a ban.
He is, and they already, Red Bull announced today that they've already picked their their other driver, and that's Franz. Oh, I'll say his last name, Hermans or something like that.
Yeah,
Hermans or
Franz
something.
Herman or whatever
Yeah.
his name is. Yeah.
So they've already picked him as the reserve driver, so nothing to worry about. You know,
Yeah. I mean, he can do it. I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
I've heard
he
good
seems,
things.
He seems to be a qualified driver.
I think he's had plenty of time in the Red Bull, so he should know how to do it.
Let's end on a good note.
Yes.
So the good news here is there were two really good things to take away from this. Is Fernando Alonso continues his streak of scoring any points
Yes.
in a season at his home race. Thank God.
Yes.
Right. And then the big news: there was a tractor,
the trash can from
on the race on the racetrack that overtook a Ferrari,
Absolutely,
which was
man.
absolutely the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I want Nico to be on the podium.
Oh gosh,
so
come on,
bad.
I want him on the podium.
But he finished fifth in a kick Sauber.
Let's go, man. The worst car on the grid at the beginning of the year. So I'll say
worst car on the grid today.
Well, I don't know.
Name a car that's worse.
They looked better this last
Name
race.
a car that's worse.
I don't know a car that's but I'm giving them some credit for what they accomplished.
Franz Herman's car
today. We don't know. Yeah, but anyways, I am excited about the races coming up. We've got a week off, I believe.
We got a week off, and then we're going to Canada.
And I'm hoping this year we get to go to one race. We do have it on the plans to be at Vegas. That's kind of our plan to be there. I don't know if you're going, Adam. Are you planning? Did you say yes or no to Vegas?
If you're going to Vegas, I'm going to Vegas.
Well, then I'm
always down for a good time.
We're going to Vegas. My plan is
if you're going to Vegas, I'm going to Vegas. But Adam is going to Silverstone, and there will be footage and coverage of us going to Silverstone. We have got a really great package. And just so you guys know, we are also, Adam is going to the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Dude. And I've already got my Goodwood Festival of Speed welcome package.
I'm not jealous at all of this trip that you get to go on, bud, but have fun. I will be actually going to ECS Tuning's car show, not this weekend, but the next. So y'all look for me there. That'll be a big car show with all the Audi, Volkswagen. It'll be a bunch of cars. Audi, Volkswagen, Porsche, BMW, Dynan will be there. APR will be there. Be a bunch of cool companies that ECS sells. So
maybe we need to ship the VR car out there.
Hey, that'd be cool, dude. I mean,
figure it out.
I'll have we'll see. And then another thing too, got new car, so we got to talk about that. I'll tease that here.
John just dropped the spoiler. Yes. John's got a new car coming to the channel, and we're going to do a full review of that car. And don't forget, we did take delivery of the VR car. It is done at PPF, but we will be doing a full review of it here soon.
Yeah. And think truck.
It's going to be great.
Car for me. Think truck. And it's not
my God. I feel like you're saying too much without saying enough.
So it's not mine.
On that note,
but yes,
if you haven't done it already, please like, share, subscribe this video. Tell us if you like the new format. I think it's going to be super cool. I like that we're doing multiple topics instead of just focusing on one. But
I think it's fun.
Don't forget, make sure you leave a comment. If you've made it this far in the video, you have a chance for us to ship you this cool silhouette art. And we're going to have more of these coming to the channel because we're going to be partnering with this group going forward. So
yes,
I'm looking forward to it. And on that note, I'm Adam.
And I'm John.
And we out.
We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
See you guys.